Thank you, Mark, for inviting me and not to give this talk. And haven't prepared anything. I just came here to talk about the things I do in Dunkin and what my journey so far is in terms of corporate life. And if you have any questions, any suggestions, if any need any advice from me, I'm happy to help all of you. To start with, as Mark said, I graduated from Bentley in 2014 to 16. I was in a graduate master students, and I was a tutor here also. And back before coming to Bentley, I was working in India in Fidelity Investments. Mostly supporting their expense side. Again on the data side and on the Visual Studio and the C# language, if you guys know that. So, once I was there in Fidelity for like 4 years before I decided to do my master's here, and Bentley was it's the easy decision for me because of the faculty and the alumni, and I have some students, some seniors who I know very well, and they have a very good recommendation from Bentley, so I just came here for the master's. And so while doing the masters, I have taken courses because I was very interested in data. So I have taken courses in CS. I don't remember the course name, but it's mostly related to data reporting, data, validations on all the data, like querying and all those stuff. Even though I was working on that in Fidelity, but I still, what I learned here is still with me, and I still use that in my day-to-day activity at Dunkin. So, uh, you know, so yeah, after I graduated, I joined CVS Health as a data steward. So mostly, managing their patient data, and because it's a health company, they have a very strict regulation in terms of patient. They have to follow HIPAA policy, and that's where I was working on their master data management for managing their patient data, understanding how we have to make sure that two patient doesn't overmatch or undermatch in terms of their where they stay or what's their age and everything. So mostly working on the Teradata technologies, and again doing all the queries and everything to make sure that data quality which is there in their warehouse is reliant and safe enough. So that's I mean I was there in CVS for around 3 years, 3 to 4 years, and then I decided to join Dunkin in 2019. I joined as a senior analyst there, and then I got interested mostly on the data engineering side. So data, if you're interested in data, there are so many roles you can take in data. So you can start with data analysis, and then you can go with data engineering side, and then you can go, if you want to further advance, you can go to the data science and everything. So it's again, it all depends on your preference, what you like, and what you want to do with the data. So, as I just started mostly on the data side and I have some programming background, I thought data engineering will be a good fit for me. So I started slowly transitioning into the data engineering side of the Dunkin. And that's where, I started learning about different ETL tools, which is called extract, transform, load. So that's where, data from different sources has been ingested and put into the data warehouse. And because right now the technology is changing so fast, so what I was using like 5 years back is kind of outdated. So the Informatica tool which I was using in Dunkin, so it's kind of redundant. So it's not it's still been used to manage our legacy system, but we are now slowly migrating into cloud of Snowflake and ADF, which is Azure Data Factory from Microsoft, and then we are using Azure Data Lake storage for storing all our data. So so mostly on my day-to-day activity with Dunkin. Oh, by the way, the Dunkin got acquired during the time of COVID and got acquired by Inspire Brands, which currently has a bunch of quick service restaurants, which include Buffalo Wild Wings, Sonic, Arby's, B-Dubs, and Jimmy John's. So as that acquisition went through, we have transitioned not only for the Dunkin related specific data. So we moved to a unified data platform. So that's where the new technologies about Snowflake and Microsoft technologies about ADF and everything start coming into play. And that's where a good learning opportunity for me for to transition from the legacy system to all the new technology cloud system and everything. And that's where I learned and about Snowflake, ADF, and everything. And company did provide us some training, but if you are interested in doing anything, you have to put yourself on the line first, and you should take wherever the opportunity is to learn all this new technologies or work on this, you have to take and grab those opportunities. So that what I have done in Dunkin, I mean Inspire, and that's right now I'm mostly working on for all the brands for Inspire, loading, basically uh, integrating all the different data through different pipelines. And so we have to make sure like the data which comes into our system, not only from our POS or back office system, but from the different vendors has been, gone through a good quality check. And anything which we found is not, good data, we actually reach out and, we have automated the process to let the vendors and everyone knows that who is responsible to send us the correct data. So, there are a lot of stuffs within the data engineering field, which, you can learn and start by doing from small. So even the basic knowledge of Microsoft Access, which you guys have started, I think you all guys are undergraduate students, right? And taking CIS classes, right? Right. So yeah, I mean, anything which you have learned in Microsoft Access, this basic simple query and everything, that's really going to help you if you are interested in making your career in data. And that's where even in Fidelity, when I started, they have a very huge application to run the expenses for Fidelity mutual funds on their Access system. And it was all VBA code and SQL query. So that's where I started getting interested in learning the SQL part of it and coding part of it. But as I was there in Fidelity, that system started getting obsolete because it cannot handle so many rows of data, or as the data grows, it was not able to perform well. But the logic and the core of this SQL and everything still remains. It just migrated from one system to the better performing system. So yeah, so that's what, if you are interested in data field, I would say, try to learn new things and even start with small. And, if you find it interesting, you'll always find resources online and everywhere where you can start putting your hands on things and, start building a mini project. And I'm sure like Mark and every tutor here are there to help you for, anything with respect to the SQL and anything, but I would say like, explore everything, even in finance thing, you need to be proficient with data manipulation and everything. So, even the Excel logic, if you learn and, things, how things work in Excel, that will be helpful, if you are thinking about building a career in data field. So, that's, I just wanted to say, and I will take a pause. And if you guys have any question, I'm happy to answer it.
Here is thinking about a career or a major or a minor in data technologies or data analytics.
Oh, nice.
What sorts of projects or problems do you think uh, people in those careers work on?
Maybe like sorting data or like finding an efficient way to automate data like categorization.
Yep, that's good. Yeah.
How was transition from like high level or like low level programming languages to data for you?
Oh, yeah, I mean, the low-level programming languages is just like a 3-minute video, which, just basic understanding of what are different types of language, low level, high level, and everything. So that's, just the basic of, if you're learning any language, you need to understand whether it's a low level, high level, or, so. But, I was always interested in learning about going in the data field. I started, as I said, like I started with the data analysis, and that's where I use the Excel access and everything, and from there on I built on running queries in a database, a relational database like Oracle, Teradata, and then going forward, even if you look at the cloud technologies, nothing different from what the traditional technologies are there right now. It's only thing, it has more computing power, it has more flexibility and more scalability, but you still have to run the same SQL which you have learned and used before. So yeah.
Do you think like any web development languages help for a career in data analytics?
Yes, of course. I think Python is a very good language you should learn. And it's like, I think Python is, if you Google it, it is still one of the most, used language for programming. So I think if you're really thinking about, but if you're completely into web design, there are really other technologies which you should focus on it and whatever interests you. But I think Python is a good basic language to learn coding and, understanding, building the logic on top of it. So I think that's where you can start looking into it.
Put a plug in for my class. I teach Python. CS 230 is Python course. There's usually 6 or 7 sections offered every semester. The only prerequisite you need to take it is CS 100, which all of you are in, and many of you are in right now. There are in the spring, I think there's going to be 5 sections that meet in person and 1 section that meets asynchronous. And I teach the asynchronous part. And Python is a prerequisite for MA. I'm blanking on the number of the data analytics course that the math part offers, 732, 252. And it's also a prerequisite if you're thinking about the artificial intelligence and innovation major. It's a prerequisite for that. It's a prerequisite for the data analytics and data technologies minor, and it's an elective for the CIS minor. The other programming language that the CIS minor offers is JavaScript and HTML, which is CS 213. And if you're a CIS major, you would take Java, which is a required course, that's CS 180. So those would be your 3 programming language choices if you wanted to investigate programming. Python is probably the most applied of all of them, the most business focused of all of them, of all 3 language courses.
Has your programming knowledge put you in a position to make like big decisions at a corporate company like CVS or Dunkin?
Yes, I mean, this programming language and understanding of all these technologies always give me a leverage, whenever a business problem or a technical problems come, I can put my thoughts to my seniors and peers and get it, reviewed with them. And I think, once you start learning that, you will have some experience on, how this certain type of problem needs to be solved in this efficient way. So you always, start learning things, and then you can start applying things, and, it will build on gradually on that.
What are some business problems that you've solved with your coworkers and colleagues by using your programming knowledge?
Okay, so so the business problem comes, to you in a plain, simple language, right? So you would say that, the data is coming from this vendor, and so suppose for Dunkin, there are so many vendors. So some NCR, they send out some hardwares. There are some vendors which actually sends the software which goes into the POS. There are some vendors which send the digital menu board for Dunkin. So they want that, okay, so we are getting all this vendor data. So we want to let NCR know that, whether the digital menu board for a store has already been set then they can start installing the POS system in that, right? So that's a simple question. So, but how do you build on that data? So we have the data coming in, but we have to make sure we integrate all this data from different vendors, and we have to make sure that all the data are joined, they are properly checked, and everything is aligned, and then we build a report so that they get the information they need from the different vendor, right? Yeah.
Do you think doing a master's program gave you an edge in your field?
Yes, definitely. I mean, the projects which I've worked on, and some of the faculties I've worked on, they have given me, I would say, an edge. Obviously, working in any corporate environments give you the best learning knowledge for any, problem solving or anything. But coming and doing masters is also a very good option, given that you have a different option to choose from. You can go with the SQL, you can also go with the programming, and then you can club all this data. And then you can pitch in while, interviewing that, okay, I have done these projects and, solving this business problem, and and why you have solved it this way than other way. So once you go like that, the interviewer will always be very impressed that you have done your research, why you have done this problem this way, not this way, and what are the pros and cons of doing this problem this way, and not this way. Yeah.
Thank you.
Looking back and from your time you started Bentley to the down here, is there anything you think you would have done differently?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Actually, I thought I would say, like, obviously I would have gone for more certification, rather than, just waiting for stuff to, get the work done on that technology. So even for Snowflake, I thought I would have done some certification, even though I'm working and I know these things, right? But if you have certification, people will respect that, and you should actually, certification or learning new things always, I probably haven't. So I would say I have. So now the AI things are going right. I still want to learn about it, but I'm still not able to take time and learn from that side. But I would always say, even if you do something extra out of the things which you're not doing and learn about it, that's really a good thing. Yeah,
How do you view AI and employment in data?
I mean, AI is really a beast right now. I mean, you have to be careful with AI, but at the end of the day, you still need some human to verify whether the AI code which they have written is right or not. And and with the data engineering stuff, there are a lot of things which comes to monitoring, orchestration, and everything. So you need to have business knowledge, which you cannot feed everything into AI right now. Which such a if you think as a data engineering, there are a lot of components, right? So it has the data, you have to build a data pipeline, you have to put an orchestration tool in place so that how the different data will flow at different times, and what all things have to be done, what are different transformation logic need to be applied. And finally, the data checks, what all data checks and how you are handling those communications to the source system or to the business level. So I think I would not say that AI cannot take that work right now, but you still need human to verify that work.
Are you using AI in your work now?
So I mean, our company is kind of conservative now. They have not given us so much access to any of the current AI tools, but there are some POC in place which company is looking into. So they are right now they have put the license for Microsoft Copilot, which I think is a very good tool if you want to automate your work related to the Microsoft environment. So you can actually build a prompt or a just a task in the AI or Microsoft Copilot, and it will say, if you're on vacation and you're coming back, you can just ask AI, what are the highlights of the emails which I have not read yet, and it will just give us the pointer, and you can just go and read some of the mails which are really important. And even you can ask, if you have missed a meeting, and you can ask the Microsoft Copilot, what's the summary of that meeting, and it is really going to save your time and being efficient in the work.
I'm curious how some of you guys are using AI in your, as students.
ChatGPT, no one?
For what?
Like especially if I'm stuck on like harder math homework, can kind of like use it as a tool, like even change some numbers just to like get the logic as how you like, especially if it's like double integrals or something, like see how it gets to the end.
Double integrals.
Yeah.
Still,
I make it create practice tests for me so I can study.
Sorry, can you come again?
I have it make practice tests for
Mhm.
like to study when my teacher gives me like the outline. Quiz.
that's a fantastic use of AI as
Yeah,
a,
okay,
as
yeah.
a tutoring, as a learning tool.
Does Bentley use any AI tool in, no?
Yeah, so Bentley has Copilot,
Copilot,
as you've
okay,
probably seen. And obviously you're free to use ChatGPT or Gemini or
yeah,
any of the other ones that are out there that you like. Copilot has the version associated with the Microsoft 365 Bentley account. So if you use that version, then the material that you use in it doesn't get used to train the models that AI uses to learn from. So again, you want to be careful what you put out there.
yeah. Right.
What are some challenges that you faced in your career and how did you overcome them?
So I would say it's always the learning curve for me, learning new technologies, learning how to work on new system. As I said, like we migrated from legacy system from Informatica to Snowflake, and that's where there was a learning curve for me to and get myself up to speed with how things work in Snowflake, how you can actually use the best possible way of Snowflake efficiently. So you need to learn how things work in Snowflake, how what are things which doesn't work in Snowflake, and it's always good, whenever you're learning new things, if you're working in a company, you should always take initiative to learn on that technology. I mean, do work on that technology so that you can start getting hands-on experience and always have a peer or kind of a mentor, so that they can always help you out whenever you get stuck.
I just noticed your name is still on the wall, right underneath that, right underneath that box.
Oh, wow.
We saved the badge.
Yeah.
How did working here help you um, as you prepared for your career?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. So, as you know, thank you for offering me this job here when I was in my master program. So, a lot of students used to come here at Sandbox, and they have different questions about Excel and Microsoft Access, and some graduate students come with the different queries and everything. So even if you don't know, you work with the student and try to find the solution. And it's always a good experience, in your interview, telling the interviewer that you have taught in a setting where you interact with different students, understand their problem, and then come up with a solution. Yeah.
Hey, Eli, are there questions from the folks in the other room? If so, please unmute and scream. If there's no questions, then unmute and scream anyway.
What kind of like certifications, like starting certifications, would you recommend like students like us to start working on?
So it really depends on what you're interested in. And so if you really want to build your career in data, and if you starting now, I would say start with anything like in Coursera or Udemy, start with the basic courses. Don't go for the certification first, and then start with the basics, and then start trying to build on that, right? So if you have the basics clear, and then this certification will help me, I would say just go for it, and and prepare for the certification. Like you can always get the questions so far they have asked, right, in the certification exam. And that will help you in clearing that those certifications.
Doesn't certifications matter for like the jobs to those that you're qualified?
I mean, certainly, I mean, the employer doesn't look always for the certification asset. They want to see how you approach the problem and, what all things you have solved in the past and how you have solved it. What was your thinking process while solving the problem, right? So even if you do a project here in CI Sandbox, that's a very good thing to add in your resume, saying that, this was a project which I've built and what all problems I've faced, and what things I've done to try to, come up with a solution for that. So it's not always certification, but, if you suppose if you started working in corporate life and you think that, I'm working in suppose Tableau or something like that. And, it's good for me to get certified. It's always good, go for that certification, but don't go randomly. If you're not interested in doing, just going for, certification doesn't help. Yeah.
Any last questions? I'm gonna put up the QR code for attendance in a moment. But we can take one or two more questions first. Or question, otherwise, you're free to ask them anything.
Oh, okay. So what you guys, your major or minor right now is mostly anything related to technology or finance or finance?
In tech and data analytics.
Oh, wow, that's good. Okay. So what are the things you learned in the finance using technologies?
I'm a freshman, so I really haven't.
Oh, okay. That's fine. But you still will be using Excel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say Excel is a good learning tool, to start with anything, even in the finance things, right? You can build so many models and everything. And that's really a good thing to learn. Yeah.
When was the last time you used Excel in your professional field?
I use it every day, yes. I mean, even though, we have all this data storage clouds and everything, right? Snowflake and everything, but when you are trying to analyze the data, it's always best to, take that data and put it in Excel, and then you can do so many things in Excel, right? So if you have started learning Excel, right, it has huge power, to dissect and intersect the data in different way and get different views of the data. So Excel is, I would say everyone who works in IT has to use Excel. Yes. And even in the finance industry or anywhere, right? It's Excel has to, you have to know Excel.
Yeah. What do you use, what are the tasks that you do in your job? Is it mostly like cleaning the data? Or
Yes, so cleaning data is one part of it. Yes, so as I said, right, I built pipelines. So pipelines is, if the pipes, right? It helps in making anything like water flows from one point to another point, right? Same thing with the data pipeline. So data pipeline is what we automate the process of getting the data from one source to what we need the data in the format we want, right? So that's where, we build the integration solution from taking data from different sources, apply some transformation based on the business logic, and then store the data efficiently. And in this process, we have to make sure the data quality is checked. So this is again a part of this process of building the pipeline.
isn't that mostly coding? Like how do you use Excel for that?
So Excel, you always use Excel for data quality check, for analyzing. Suppose some data is you are not getting some, the expected value is this, but you're not getting this. And you have to see like 1,000 rows where the, things have gone wrong. So you will take that 1,000 rows and put it in Excel, and then you can, see different angles of the data where the things have been gone missing, right? Yeah. Yes, please.
To like build that data pipeline,
Yeah.
it's more, would it be more like a project? Is it like very time consuming? And like, would you be spending like multiple, like more than like your typical like 9 to 5 hours in a day?
Yes, I mean, it depends on how complex the data integration is. Suppose if you have to just copy one data from one file in a CSV or Excel and put it in a data warehouse table, that's going to be not even a hour worth of work, right? So you just take a copy, put it integration, and then put copy there, right? But if you have to take data from 10 different sources, right? And make sure that data stays consistent. I mean, you know about normalization, right? So the data has to be normalized and data has to be, make sure that, the data which exists in one table, their corresponding rows exist in the other tables, right? So we have to make all this decision like, so suppose one data pipeline fails, what you need to do, right? And suppose your data pipeline run to take the data for like yesterday, right? What if that data pipeline fails today? And then you have to run for 2 days, right? Last 2 days. So you have to make your pipeline very flexible, and you should have an option to always, make sure that you can always run the data for, how many years or months back to the day of like today's or yesterday data, right?
They're all busy filling out their attendance survey. What kinds of data are you actually looking at? Are you looking at corporate sales? Are you looking at employee
Right.
data?
So
And trend product sales to determine when they should introduce those pumpkin donuts again?
correct. Yes. So different set of data. So one is the sales coming from POS. Other is the data coming from different vendors. Then the data coming from loyalty programs where, if you are a loyalty member of Dunkin, you will have a data coming from third-party Epsilon, which we have to ingest and make sure that we have to check. And different teams, want to analyze data in a different way. So the marketing team wants to see whether either the new product which they have introduced in fall, how it's performing, right? As compared to the other product which they have launched last year. So there are so many different use cases of the data, but for basically for our job is to make sure whatever the raw data which we can get from different system or different vendors, we try to ingest it in our data lake, and so that whatever the different team want to put a data science or anything on top of data, they can run their models.
What personal information do you collect?
We have the credit card information, first name, last name, yeah. So that's kind of a PII, but yeah, that data is masked, so not everyone can access that data. Yeah, yes.
Isn't it encrypted?
Sorry?
Is it encrypted or not?
Yes, it's encrypted. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, the people cannot access that data. Yes.
So you would have like a whole other department, like a cybersecurity department to
Yes.
prevent it from attacks and
Attack, yes. So yes. So they have like a security department which actually looks for the entire security of Inspire brands. So not only in terms of the attack, like the different vendors which they have a contract with, whether they are secure and safe. So everything, yes. And then there is a legal team which makes sure that everything has been written and documented so that they will be responsible if anything.
Are you in a senior position now?
Yes, yeah.
How long did it take to get there?
So I would say probably 2 to 3 years, depending on your performance and the type of work you are doing. And I would say, like, if you really want to grow in a company, you should always take initiative in learning new things, and you should make yourself available to your manager to always ready to take new work and learn new things. So that really helps in getting promoted.
How does the understanding of finance help you in your job with that analytics?
Data analytics. So yeah, I mean, when I was working with Fidelity, I started with the CFA program. I did the level 1 CFA program. That's where I wanted to get the basics of finance. And I think that's a very good program. But if you're really into the investment banking and everything, you should pursue that. But it depends on the company which you are working on. So if you are working in the finance industry and if you don't have much knowledge, you can always think about learning different ways to understand the work you're doing. So it's always good to learn the business side of things. So if you know the business side of thing, and then if you're a technical person, you can always build code to whatever the business wants. But understanding the business part is kind of a difficult thing.
Anyone else? Going once? Going twice?
I don't know if you mentioned this earlier, but is what you're doing right now what you imagine doing,
Mhm.
like when you started like undergrad or like
Yeah.
when you're in Fidelity? Does that make sense?
Like, okay, so what I'm doing right now, whether I have envisioned that,
Yeah.
No, not at all. I mean, it depends, it all nurtured when I, started working on different things, and then I started like, okay, this is the ETL tool, which is like really, I really like that, starting using ETL tool. So that's where I asked my manager in Dunkin that can I start, working on this ETL tool Informatica, which is kind of a legacy system right now. But when I joined, it was kind of the data pipeline tool which they were using there. So that's where the opportunity came to me, and I thought that it's a good thing, because I've seen like how different things work in data pipelines, but I've never got the chance to work on it. And I was kind of at the tipping point of my data analysis field, on the career side. So I thought, it's better to switch on the data engineering side. Yeah. Yes.
What made you choose or make the switch between finance to data analytics?
I mean, even in the Fidelity, I was not on the finance side. I was still on the technology side. So, so it's not completely finance. I was just in the technology, helping finance business folks to manage their data, build their reports and everything. So I was never on the finance business side. Yeah.